I write stuff in podcasts too. Today, the one, the only, Rachael Tamayo. Did I get that right? Did I get that right, or did I get that wrong? Because I'm a little worried. Because if I get your name wrong, I mean, look at my name. If I can't get
What?
your name wrong,
My sound glitched. It's glitching
okay,
real bad for me. Let me unplug my microphone. Hold on. Let me see if that's better.
yeah,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're kind of
No, I
in and
can.
out with your phone is kind of going in and out. Your connection. So
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
It's Rachael Tamayo. I didn't hear how you said it, but that's how it
I
said.
said,
I'm not
Rach.
upset at all. However you say it, I'm good.
I
So
said to May. I said Tamayo, so I'm glad I
Rachael
got that right.
Tamayo. Yeah.
Tamayo. Oh man, you must have
Everybody
had
says
so
it
many.
that way. Everybody says Tamayo.
I just had a
Yeah.
really terrible thing because I remember like as a kid,
You're in
my
the
name.
majority.
Yeah, I remember as a
Oh, I'm
kid.
not even gonna try and say your name. I'm not even gonna try.
So the thing is, right when I was a kid, my name got
I can
picked on all the
imagine.
time. Like Pence to the rescue, Ken Telamigo, Alphabet, Rachael Tamayo. There's a tomato joke in there. I'm sure somebody did that with you as a kid.
Um, yeah, definitely. I had a guy come up to me at work one time. He goes, "Did you ever spell check your name? It comes up tomato."
Oh
And I thought, why
God.
would I ever spell check my own name?
Oh God.
No, I don't spell check my name. Yeah, it comes up tomato.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does.
It's just one of those things where you just I look at your names like, oh my God, I saw the tomato joke. I'm like, oh man, she must have got that her whole life.
Well, it's my married name. My
Yeah.
my my maiden name is Baker, which it doesn't rhyme with anything really.
No.
But yeah, you get the whole bake me a cake thing and you know.
You get all this weird like we were just talking here. Like my last name got everything. I actually was looking forward to the creativity when I got it
Mhm.
because it's like as long as like Pants to the Rescue was the one where I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
glad you figured that one out.
Yeah.
Everybody else has done that one. But if you said
Yeah.
something else, but if you actually put something else up there,
Mhm.
I was okay. I could give you props for creativity. Like it's
Yeah.
like if you could come up with something. Like I said, my
Mhm.
the alphabet one's my favorite because I remember it was a buddy of mine. It was in grade 6. He tried to say my name. Like he tried. Josh Pentilla. Screw it, Josh Alphabet, right?
Mhm.
The honesty of that just you just shrugged your shoulders and kind of said to yourself, you know what? I can live with that. I can totally live with you trying and failing to say my name.
Yeah.
I got right. I can respect that. Ken Telamigo was my personal favorite, right? Because it just like you heard it and it's like, okay, whoever came up with that phonetically is a genius,
Right.
right? But that's
And my first name definitely doesn't rhyme with anything. But
no, no.
yeah, I remember once in junior high, some guy was trying to make fun of me, and he goes, "Why don't you go bake me a cake?" And I was like, "Really? Is that all you got?
Well, yeah.
Is that it?"
If you're going to say like
Mhm.
something to me,
Right.
be original. Just hit me
At
with
least
something.
make it worth my while. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
At least try and hurt my feelings. I mean, come on. You're just really
Or
wasting my time.
if not hurt my feelings.
Or just
Not at least be original, creative.
right.
Some of you got a brain because it really. I feel like if I'm
Just a little effort. Just a little bit.
yeah, I want effort. Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's true. I want effort in everything in my life. I want effort. I want effort in
Mm-hmm.
people showing up. I want effort with people going on a date. I want effort people in the writing. I want effort. I
Yeah.
don't care the
It's
result.
okay to fail as long as you tried.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
Just
no,
try.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Totally.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. I don't know you very well, so
Mm-hmm.
let's play get to know you a little bit. So so you're represented by Creative Edge, Mickey
Yeah.
Mickelson. He recommended me to you. You got a book
Mm-hmm.
coming out right now. So So I guess so have you been doing this writing thing a long time? Are you awesome, like super awesome at it, or?
I guess that would be up to opinion, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm okay. But I've gotten, I want to say, written like 8 books, and though I have the one that just came out in July. Carnal Knowledge is the title. It's the second book of this in the Deadly Sin series. I write thrillers now, psychological thrillers. I mean, I think they're pretty good. Everybody seems to like them.
So
I mean,
well then, but you so I had a guest. She was a musician. So she premiered a bit of her song on there. She was actually dancing to her own song. So that's when I knew it was good because like when you're into your own stuff,
yeah.
right, then you know you're on to something.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're on something, and either way, you're having fun at least. So I mean, it's kind of. But I find that when an artist is really invested in their work, right, whether it's an author, a musician, an illustrator, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can feel like they're excited, they're jazzed about it, they put it out there, they put it together.
Yeah.
Usually, the work is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't write it, I would be reading it. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that I would read, definitely. But by the time it's published, I've actually read it so many times that, you know.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's definitely I love a good psychological thriller. So it's like a goal for me to put some kind of twist in it, and a surprise, and you know, I love doing that. I absolutely love it.
Nice. So I guess where did you start? What made you say I can be a writer and I can make awesome books for people? Where was that moment when you decided to do it?
Well, I never knew if I could make awesome books for people. I was writing as a kid. I wrote as a child. Just little, you know, fluffy things that little kids write, you know. And then as a teenager, I started writing books, but I didn't let anybody read them. And I stopped for a lot of years. And then one year I decided to start writing again. And I was like, I'm going to see if I can do better, you know, like actually make something of it. Because I never actually sat down and tried to improve it.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally did. And I did that actually with a website called Critique Circle. It's a website where I would really recommend it to anybody, especially people that are starting out as writers. Because that's actually where I was able to perfect my voice. Because basically how it works is you can get a free subscription or you can get like a paid. It's not really very much, just a few bucks. Basically what you do is you post chapters of your book and strangers will go in and do line by line critiques of your work. Like, is what's good, what's bad, what needs to be fixed, you know, their genuine opinion. And you get points. You have to earn points to post chapters by doing critiques of their work.
Okay.
But the reason I recommend it is because they're strangers. They're also writers. They're all writers. So some of them are good and some of them are bad, but they understand and they're not going to lie to you. You know, it's not like giving it to your friend and your friend saying, "Oh, this is great," and I'm like, "Man, this stinks." You know, you know, how can you get better with that? You can't.
I find friends with friends. It's not really it's good or the problem is it's good or it stinks, and they don't give you any information that really helps you. It's good. Well, thank you.
There's no detail. Yeah.
No. Or it stinks, and you feel it right here when they say it. It stinks, and then you're like, well, how can I get better? Well, I don't know, just stinks.
Right. And it could just be, it could be 100 things, you know. Was when I was posting mine when I first started on there, I was posting mine, and another author, she told me, you know, like things like you're mixing your past and your present, and you know, this kind of thing, and you know, just weeding out those little things and learning to tell a story better. You know, it was very helpful.
So for me, like storytelling, like I've hit this, like I've done my first novel. I've done books of poetry. So I'm working on my second novel right now, and I'm working on kind of like a little Fahrenheit 451 homage. What I found was after the first novel, your second novel is automatically so much better, just based on the fact that you've told the story before, and because you really and if you're critical enough with yourself to go like, this is what I can do better, right? And everything's a progression. I think there comes a point where you kind of get a sense of technically what you want to tell and what the details that really matter. And I find that's the real challenge as a writer. It's no longer I can tell a big story, I can tell a little story. But the really important thing is what details do I want to show and what details do I want to make you think about? Because that's really the secret to a good story. It's not what you say is great, but it's what you don't say that actually makes the reader go, right?
Yeah, you have to trust your reader's imagination.
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely do. Because if you're describing every little minute little thing, that's like not super annoying. Nobody wants to read a book like that.
That's called a tax form. No one wants
right.
to.
I mean, nobody wants to read a book like that. But you're right about you should get better with every manuscript. I mean, listen to your editor. Whatever your editor says when they go through your manuscript, they do know what they're talking about most of the time. Read other books in the genre, and that's a big one. Read the bestsellers, the top names, and you'll see the difference between what you're doing, what they're doing, and you can improve on it. And just improve from I try myself, too. I've written several books, and I still try to improve every manuscript, every book.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal is like I've long given up on the concept of perfection. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't exist. I'm not interested in, and actually, to be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't want it to exist because what we bring to the table is our experiences and our own unique way of kind of seeing the universe. That's what we bring when we tell a story. Right. That's like because every story has been told. It's all on how you tell it. It's all on who's telling it. That's the big difference, and ultimately to some degree, who's reading it. So it's reading is a very deceptively interactive thing. The writer that makes it, the reader that reads it, and the pictures they see in between each other. It's actually a really cool thing. I think that's why, even though we are in an era where we're talking digitally, you in your top secret dark room is awesome right now, and me and
I know, right?
I take myself I take myself very seriously, as you can tell.
Me too.
Yeah. But it sounds like with you, have you always been? It sounds like you've been very traditionally published. Am I right to assume that? Yeah. So how did you end up doing it and doing well at it?
It's so frustrating. Being traditionally, as I started out actually looking for an agent, because I think everybody starts out like the agent hunt, which honestly I just don't recommend. You don't really need them. Most agents are just gonna sell you to a publisher that you could get in yourself. Most of them really. So after I spent some time doing that, I got some feedback though, because they all say, "Oh, we like your writing. It's good. The book was just not right. The story was off." So I ended up rewriting the whole thing. And then I met somebody on that Critique Circle website, and she had an agent, and she had told me, she said, if I knew what I know now, I would recommend you skip the agent and just start looking for publishers yourself. So I did. And that's what I did. I spent some time fixed my book and then submitted it to publishers. And I finally found a publisher, which I'm not with them anymore. I'm now with Tangled Tree Publishing, but it was always my thing, I wanted somebody to recognize me enough to say, yes, we want to publish you,
See, for me, it was completely by accident. It was completely by accident. I accidentally wrote a book and accidentally got published. So
you accidentally wrote a book.
You want to hear it? Do you want to hear the story? Do you want to hear the story?
Yes.
So I had written like a book of poetry in my 20s, like a collection of poems.
Mm-hmm.
Book doesn't exist anymore. I haven't published it, and I'm not ever going to publish it again. I'm proud I did it. It taught me a lot, but honestly, I'm a very different person than who wrote that book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to do a longer poem than like a 1 page. I didn't do roses or red, violets or blue stuff, but I did like I had a style. But I wanted to do something longer. So I had this vision of a boy in a watchtower. They were in his compound. Dragons were the masters, and human beings were or kind of working for them. And he was just looking into her eyes and just wondering just what was out there. I really liked it. So I'm like, so what happens next? So then I wrote chapter 2, which is he kills his dragon master and he escapes into the wilderness. I can't end it there. There's no way I can end it there.
Yeah.
So chapter 3, he's his first night alone, which I think is still one of my favorite things I've ever written, to be very honest with you. So that was good. It's like, okay, these 2 have been really good. So chapter 4, pretty good. Chapter 5, okay. I'm not doing a poetry collection anymore. I'm doing this. Right. Whatever this is. So that's how I accidentally wrote the book. I stumbled onto this story.
You know what authors mean then when they say the story wrote itself.
Like, oh yeah, totally.
The characters just take over. You know?
Yeah, no, it was just one of those things. No, actually, all 3 of those books, to be perfectly honest with you, I always, when I wrote into this world specifically, I always wondered if I could write more into it, and when I actually started, it was never a problem. I had some of my own touches to it, right? But I'll tell you one fun one later. But to finish the story, I want to get an artist to illustrate the story, so I found someone named Florence Chan, and she was awesome and great. And my master plan just was, I'm going to make this on Smashwords. I'm going to sell copies at there. Like I'm proud of the book, but I didn't have any like these giant aspirations for it. I put it on Smashwords. Someone buys it. Someone I interviewed years ago. I've been doing interviews for a long time. She goes, "Hey, this is cool. What are you going to do with it?" What I just told you is what I told her. She goes, "Well, I just got to deal with Ingram's. I just signed a deal with Ingram Smart. I'm starting a publishing company. I'll publish it." And that's how you accidentally get published.
Yeah.
I've learned a long time ago that you embrace. See, I'm in an interesting spot. Like something what you said just rang a bell with me is I'm not against an agent. There are what the thing is, when I look at traditional publishing now, what I look at now is this. I've created like my own little like niche for myself. I have an audience, I have a platform, and I'm growing. I'm scaling up. Like this used to be just an audio podcast. And when you're right now, it's an audio visual. It scales up. I'm doing new things all the time.
Yeah.
So I've built my own audience. I've won awards doing this. So let's say I look at a publisher. Okay. What do you offer me that I can't do myself? Because that, again, strictly, this is me as a businessman, not just as an artist. Like I've been published traditionally. I've done it myself. I'm not afraid of either format. I like both. There's things I love about traditional publishing. There's things I love about indie publishing. But for me now, it's not about being recognized. It's about, okay, what will get me farther ahead for what my goals as a creative. Right. And if you're my publisher, how do you help me get there?
Right. Because my first publisher was bad.
Yeah.
And they were offered nothing that I couldn't have done myself, honestly, for way cheaper. And it's like this, because when I left them, several people actually followed me. And I still talk to them because you make friends, with all the authors, and we would talk about it, and we're like, look at it like this. If you're basically paying these people to do this work for you, to put your book together, to make it nice, to make it professional, to put it out there in front of people, and if you're paying them and they're not doing it, then what are you paying for? Because it's basically what you're doing. Because and authors, especially new authors, have that tendency to think, oh, they're doing me a favor by publishing my book. That may start that way, but it doesn't stay that way.
No.
because you make your name and you establish yourself, and then it turns the other way. Like, I'm paying you. What are you giving me?
Mm-hmm.
It really is true.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like I'm looking into what's going on in this little crazy time right now. And you're actually the second author to mention the agents thing to me, the way you said it, because and it's interesting because I know agents and there's a couple I would totally respect working for. I think,
Yeah.
but the thing about that, and this is the thing and again we're coming to this point. If you're a middleman, if that's what you are, well, if you're a middleman, then you have to have either supreme connections in so many different things. Like for me, I look at public. Like I'm a sci-fi guy. Publishers like Tor, Daw Books, but like Daw would be cool. I would love to get published. But that would be from a prestige point, from a point of prestige. That from a point of I read these guys when I was a kid. That'd be cool. But at the same token, I'm also looking at them and going, okay, how are you helping me get a movie deal? How are you helping me resell my work in other places? Because where we authors make money two ways. Your backlist, right? Your book up front is great. It does help. And you want it to do better than all your other books. But the truth of the matter is, you care more about your backlist than you care about your front list, because your backlist, as your front list grow, your front list triggers your backlist. It's just how the business works. So you want to make right. So that there's that. So there's number one. But number two is how many different mediums can you tell your story in? Audiobooks, video games, merchandise. And you are a brand unto yourself, although a lot of people criticize him for taking his writing style and turning it into a formula that other people use and copy and abuse, all that other fun stuff, James Patterson figured this out, right? Like that is any business, any actual business model. The ultimate long goal, if you want to make it a fully functioning business that can go without you and still generate you income, you figure out a way to automate it.
Right.
And that's what James has done. Like that's what James Patterson did. He automated himself and increased the quantity of his output. As a result, he might still write books here and there. It wouldn't shock me if he still did. But the fact of the matter is, his name, he doesn't have to anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And on one hand, and on strictly a business level, that's brilliant. Right? That's brilliant. Right? Strictly a business level. Creatively, from a point of view of personal growth and health, I'm not so sure that's a good move. But if you don't care about that.
I've never seen anybody do what he does. He's the only one I've seen do that.
Well, the thing is, it exists other stuff. There's BC Andrews, like that's a brand, right? That's a brand as well. Louis L'Amour is a brand. Like all these guys all these people with these very long book names and histories and stuff like that, they do exist. They're just not advertised that way. Patterson's the only one where you go, okay, I know what you are. You are this, and that's what you are. And that's what, and again, strictly on a business level, I can't knock it, right? Right. So,
not.
No. So, I get the feeling that's not your goal. Like your goal is to write these competitive, psychologically thrilling books. So are you going to scare people? Are you trying to make people have a happy ending? Are you guys, or is every story like a little different with you?
Every story is a little different, and they don't all have happy endings. Definitely not. The romances do, because I did start out with romance, but they all have to have happy endings, but otherwise they're not romances. But I don't write those anymore. Romance was never my long-term goal. It was just where I started. It's an easy starting point.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it wasn't. I was never really like at home there. Like some people just love writing romance and they'll always write it. And it was okay for me. It was never like I was never home there.
No,
never was. Thrillers. Yeah, I love writing thrillers, and sometimes they have happy endings. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're scary. Like my friend read Crazy Love, and she's like, "Oh my god, the book scared me so bad." I didn't mean for it to be scary. It just comes out, it just comes out how it comes out, Because Crazy Love is about a guy that he is desperately in love with this woman that he doesn't know her. She's just a woman that works in the store,
Mm-hmm.
and he's become crazily obsessed with her, and he's like breaking into her house and, doing all these crazy things. And, she was like, it was so scary, I was like, I'm afraid to go in my attic still to this day, I didn't mean for it to be scary. I was just telling a story.
You traumatized your friends. I mean,
I did.
you succeeded. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a tough fight right there.
It's funny though, because if you know me, I'm kind of a goofball. I'm not one of those people that could plan to be funny. I'm just like spontaneously stupid, I'm just like an idiot,
See, I got you. I like my impression of you is you're just someone that goes with the flow. Like that.
Yeah,
That's actually
totally.
that's totally like.
I can go anyway.
Yeah. You just go with the flow. You're like, right. You'd be perfectly like this is how I could picture you. I could picture you in a mosh pit. You'd be totally happy there. I could picture you just at home watching Netflix, and being addicted for days and going, what the fuck? I could picture you playing video games and getting your ass kicked by your kids and like, you'd be totally cool with it.
I could do any of that.
Right? Yeah.
Cool.
And you're easy going. I feel like, I get this with you. I feel like you're very comfortable in your own skin. And that's a very good thing, right? So like you're at peace with who you are, and
right.
And you're like, you know what, whatever. Like I'm not here to judge. I'm just doing my thing.
I can fit in with probably just about anybody.
Yeah.
But it's funny because they know me at all, and they know I'm like that. I'm this really easygoing person, and they read the book, any of the most recent ones, especially the Crazy Love and on. They look at me like, really? This came out of you? And I was
no.
What can I say?
Well,
yeah.
You're dedicated. Like, I mean, you've done 8 books. Like that takes a degree of dedication that not everybody has. And you're someone I get again, you have a great range as a person. You have great range. You can be like, you generally like being happy and chill and bubbly, but you can be angry and intense. You can probably laugh your ass off. You probably, when you cry, you feel like you're all, I feel like you're all in. Wherever you're at in that moment, you're kind of like you're all in. And that's, is that fair? Is that accurate?
The books are the same way, because I'm not one that can like crank out like 5 or 6 books a year, and I'm not a slow writer.
No.
But I get so into what I'm writing that it's just like I'm so absorbed in it that I have to finish it before I can begin something else. And I get so into it, and it's not like I'm like emotionally invested or anything. I'm aware that it's a story, but it's just you're so deep into the world that you've written,
I think, okay, so can I certainly don't want to make it feel like I know more. I'm offering it.
No.
I think the word choice, you are invested in what you do. Like the fact of the matter is, like if you're putting in this much work, you're going out, like you're someone that takes investment in what you do. But when it's over, right, the light switch goes off. Like, okay, the job is done. I can be happily bubbly. By the way, what video game does your kid kick your butt in?
I haven't really been playing video games with him. I haven't played in a long time. My husband and I years ago used to play Halo together.
Okay. So then on that note, or like,
which he would kick my butt in because I stink at it, and he's been playing since the birth of Halo. So
I stunk a Halo too. In fact, I stunk so bad that people were trash talking me first time. So I just deliberately suicided into them. They're just like, whatever. I don't care. Like,
my son is 7 and he plays Call of Duty and Fortnite, and he could probably kick my butt too because he's actually pretty good at Call of Duty. As I watch him, and I'm like, really? Dang, you're only 7. But Yeah,
Wait,
kick
wait.
ass.
Well, I mean that in video games are the foundation. Like for me, I was Legend of Zelda, not so much Call of Duty. I'm not crazy about that kind of game, but that's me. It's just
Yeah.
not my thing.
I was like, y'all don't come at me because my 7-year-old plays Call of Duty because it's just a video game.
No, God,
You
no,
know,
not
yeah. And
it's
now people are like, oh my god, you know, because it's the shooting and like,
well,
it's
no,
just a video game.
it's especially in this environment right now.
Yeah.
It's harmless. I mean, he's got to do something,
Right, and he knows it's just
yeah,
a game.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, he's 7 years old. I'm sure he could trash talk her. Like I could just see him being a bit of a trash talker. But
We don't let him talk on the headsets because he's 7, and
no, it's
people
fair.
get like whacked out in that game, and they swear and say all kinds of weird stuff. So we don't let him talk on the headsets. We keep it muted.
See, proper tenor.
He just plays the game.
He just plays the game and he murders everybody, which is awesome.
He's played live. Don't get me wrong, but he's not allowed to hear anybody.
Yeah, no, it's cool. No, I just bring this all like going back to what I was saying. It's awesome. By the way, your 7-year-old kid can kick my butt in video games. I'm okay with this. I'm very okay with this.
Yeah, we got off
Yeah.
topic a little bit.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Hey, listen. I once upon a time I was good. That was a long time ago. I have moved on to my video games of choice now are RPGs, and that's what I play, and I'm good.
He mostly plays Fortnite now. So.
Yeah, which I hear is a great game. I have not touched it. So, but going back, I was saying like you're somebody that's like for you. I just feel like when the light switches on, you're there and you're all in. You just commit. Then you're very committed. But when it's over, you're one of those people that can be like, okay, I'm well adjusted enough. Click. Okay, what else do I need to do? You know,
yeah,
spend with kids. Yeah, right. Like what I got to do next? I feel like you have a methodical approach to how you do it, but while you're in those moments, you're in. You don't. There's not like you don't disengage. If that makes sense. Is that fair?
Yeah, I don't have to be like in a certain place at a certain time with the
Yeah.
The right music or anything. I've written in the doctor's office, waiting before, like on my phone,
Oh yeah.
I'm not.
Whatever you got.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean that's just generally. Like, I just feel like you're one of those people that just like you're balanced enough to just go, hey, listen, I can do. I'll do this. What do you need me to do? I'm here. Okay, this is done. Let's move on. But that doesn't mean like while you're in it, like you're not intense. You probably, because you're so easygoing, you could observe a lot about human behavior around you. And I bet you that's where, again, so I guess you should ask, where's the psychological thriller love come from? Like, why do you love it so much?
I was introduced to a lot of mental health whenever I was 911 dispatcher. I did that for 12 years, and I saw a lot of crazy, seriously, in every way, shape, or form. And the way people react to things, and knowing that people don't know how they're going to react to things, and just all that kind of stuff. I absorbed it, and I use it when I write. And it has to be intense because if you've read anything I've written, it's intense,
Well,
I mean,
that means like you've been through some that requires like on a nightly basis. So I guess you had to be like a psychologist to some of these people too. I imagine because they're having like I remember when I was 4, my mom had asthma and she stopped breathing and we had to go get the neighbors and I remember that night that panic. I was 4, right? But I should probably be panicking at 4 years old. But the thing is, I mean, adversity comes to people at different points in their lives, and that needing help, that desperation, there's a desperation with that for some people, and you're the receiving end of that. So I could imagine you probably had to talk some people down the ledge. I'm imagine sometimes it made you laugh, some of the things that they're calling about. All right, because it's just like because it can be as simple as apparently once upon a time. I mean, I like maybe the cell phone was used as another kind of toy and it got stuck somewhere, something like that.
I've had my kid handcuffed himself and we can't find a key. Like they found a pair of handcuffs. We had to send an officer out to take the handcuffs off the kid. I had that one time. I had a guy call one time and said, "Can you solve me and my friend have a bet. and I swear to God, I wish I could remember what he asked me, but I cannot remember. And he was laughing, his friend was laughing. He asked me whatever it was, and I started laughing. I could not help it. It was funny, and I don't remember what it was. But it was, I need you to solve a problem for me. We have a bet, and I'm sorry to bother you, but, because I didn't just answer 911. It was also the non-emergency line.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get, calls from every which way. But yeah, all kinds of stuff. Some of it was funny, sending the fire department out for a woman that was stuck at the park. She was stuck in one of those little baby swings at the park.
Okay, yeah.
And her son had called, and he was laughing his ass off, and like, my mom is stuck, and because he was like, older kid, in this swing out here, and we can't get her out. So I had to send the fire department to get her out. Stuff like that. It was silly. It wasn't all traumatic, and most of the time, most of the calls that come through on 911 aren't emergencies.
No,
they're just little mundane. Some of it's not.
There are problems that in the moment might seem big, but probably aren't.
Mm-hmm.
And then and every once in a while, which I'm sure you'd rather have that than the actual real emergencies, but that's what you're there for. And so you got to see the whole gambit of human emotion literally played out with just the pressure. And sometimes you were the pressure relief, sometimes you were the comedy relief, but sometimes you were the superhero too. And that's a daunting job sometimes, but it also forces you to get poised and calm because you're the one that can't panic. Because if you're panicking, they're like, oh shit, she's done.
I've always had that, and it's kind of funny because some people don't get it, and I'm not a dispatcher anymore. I stopped doing it a couple years ago, but I still have that. I've always had that I don't panic, unless it's just like really, I can't remember ever like full blown panic, and something will happen with the kids, someone will fall or whatever, and I'm not like completely freaking out, My husband and I've argued about it. He's like, why don't you get, more upset? What if this happened? What if that happened? And I'm like, but it didn't happen. So why are we getting upset about something that didn't happen? Well, I don't get it,
And sometimes more importantly, like this is the other thing too. Let's say it did happen. What can you do about it?
Me freaking out is not going to help.
No, it's not. It doesn't do anything.
Not at all.
Right.
But my process though is in the minority, and he's more normal with that than me.
Well, I'm like you. I'm in the same boat. For me, I didn't initially. I panic, but I've had enough life experiences that have happened to me. I don't panic anymore.
No, and
it just doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything, and my reactions aren't the same, and it's like me freaking out about something that didn't happen is not going to help the situation.
Well, that's the thing. When you have that reaction, you're considering every possibility, but right, which it could be good or bad, and there's a whole gamut of things. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure the urgency goes up if it's your kids to some degree.
Course,
right, absolute. But
but it's like just throwing an example out. Not that this doesn't happen. Like you catch your kid playing with a pair of scissors and they fall down. And okay, my reaction would be, "What are you doing? Go put the scissors off. You're not supposed to be playing with the scissors. Are you okay? That would be the end of it." But other people completely freaking out. Oh my God! What if he fell on the scissors? He could be dead, and this and that.
Yeah,
no. Freak out. But I'm sitting there like,
when I've been watching this, like COVID's been a great example of watching people's reactions, like worrying about every which way, and I'm like, I have no control over any of this.
Right.
So why am I reacting? Why would I react? I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go outside. If I have to go outside, I'm going to do what I have to do, and I'm going to go home because there's nothing else I can really do. I'm not going to worry about.
It's going to run its course. It's going to run its course. It's going to do what it wants to do.
Yeah. I mean, getting mad at the rain for falling,
right,
doesn't do you any good. It just makes you crazy.
Right.
Like, that's honestly what it does. And like I said, my own life experiences have taught me, like, okay, that doesn't mean I don't care. That doesn't mean I don't have certain worries and concerns. But I also recognize the fact that, having those worries and concerns isn't going to change, right? The grand scheme is what problems can I control? What can I actually do about the situation right now? And if the answer is nothing, you live with it because that's all you can do.
I once had a dispatcher. We just had her finish training, and she was listening to like old calls, and she's like, "You sound so monotone. You know, you're so flat on your calls." And I'm like, "I'm supposed to be. I'm a 911 dispatcher. That's how you keep your callers calm. You know, is you have to be calm. You're flat and monotone and just cool.
Yeah.
You know, like you're a rookie. You've been doing this for 6 weeks. Calm down. You know, but she was real, worked up. Eventually that'd go away. But
well, no, eventually that'll get beaten out of you, or you're just gonna have a heart attack, one or the other. Like that's just how it's gonna go.
She was just overworked about a lot of stuff. But
because that's the thing. Like, there's a burnout thing. Like I totally get where you're coming from. Like it's not that you don't feel it, you do, but you just you cope with it very well.
My reaction's different. Yeah.
Yeah, you learn to cope with like this is it.
My reaction bothers people sometimes, though. It does.
Well, no, of course it does, because
they're like, why aren't you freaking out? Why aren't you upset? You know.
But it's also the other. There's two parts to that. There's the other part to this that a lot of people, I don't know if you've thought about. There's a quiet confidence with that too. It's not like you're saying that necessarily you can deal with the situation, but there's like that quiet little belief in yourself that it's gonna be all right, right? Because I'm here and that this is it. This is what it is, and it's not all bad, and it's all these things. Like keep calm. I'm calm. I'm confident. Like I'm here. I'm present. And that's disconcerting to some people because they're like, well, I can't do anything. It's like, I can't do anything either.
Right. But don't get me wrong. I do get upset about things.
Oh, sure.
You know, and if it's some kind of like, I don't know, if I don't react to it, doesn't mean I'm not upset. It's just, I just don't react. You know, I just don't. Yeah. But yeah, if it's something that pushes one of my buttons, I'm going to react. But, yeah, it bothers people sometimes. It really does. It's like some people just can't deal with that. Why aren't you freaking out? You know?
Well, yeah, because again, it's because
I'm just not. You know.
You've. So I gotta ask. So okay, so for me, I have to admit, there's a little part of me that gets off on fear. Do you have that, or do you or is it more like you acknowledge it and move on?
I don't really like being afraid.
Okay.
I don't like being afraid. I don't read horror. You know, I don't like. Okay, I like a scary movie, but I don't like to be like petrified by it. You know, but I like the anxiety, I guess.
Okay, no.
Or the stress induced by like a good thriller or.
I'm asking this for this. I'm asking this for like for me. Like, yeah, everything okay over there? Just making sure.
Yeah, it was like. Yeah. It was a police car.
Okay, no, it's okay. I just make sure. The thing is, right? I'm a long time ago. I remember when I was a kid, and there's this we were Lake Huron in Ontario, Grand Bend, Ontario, and Lake Huron was really wavy. I remember my dad went in, just did his thing. I still remember this. My sister tried to go in the pool. The wave knocked her on her butt. She just went back out. Like she wouldn't go back in the water again. I tried jumping the waves. I remember this one wave scared the hell out of me. Right, and I'm like. But in that moment, I recognized I was aware of absolutely everything around me in that moment.
Yeah.
I dug that. Like, it's a neat spot to be in. I don't necessarily pursue, like, being afraid for the sake of being afraid, but I don't mind it when my heart is actually racing. My reaction to it is more like, I enjoy it to some degree. There's a point where I get annoyed with it. It pisses me off.
You like the adrenaline.
I like the adrenaline. Yeah, I like the adrenaline. Right, and right, I like it to a point. Right, but for the most part, I'm like you in the sense that I don't get scared.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of made my peace. I've made peace that anything can happen,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, but I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
This is today. This is what I'm gonna do. If a problem comes, I'll see if I can solve it. If I can't, well, fuck, I can't,
Right.
and then that's it. Life will go on.
I don't, like I said, I don't like to be scared. I
Yeah.
don't like to be like really actually afraid of anything. And I'm not a thrill seeker at all.
No, fair.
I'm not at all, and I don't do. Look, I do very well. I thrive under pressure, like with stress and anxiety, unless it's like, certain things that actually really affect me and bother me. But like the stress and anxiety of, knowing that this has to be done by this time or this is going to happen, I do well.
You enjoy a challenge.
I mean, I've never actually thought about it that much. I guess.
Yeah. I'm just. There's nothing wrong. This is what we do. I'm just.
No, it's cool. I've never, like thought about it. But yeah, I thrive under pressure.
Yeah, and that's a great quality. By the way, I'm not like honestly, it's especially now. I wish more people had that quality. But
yeah. Oh God, yeah. I've worked with a lot of people that I wish had this quality, but
no, in your field, I think so in your field, not in the 911 like people that answer the phone, but I think in like the medical industry, I have the most respect for the EMTs and nurses.
Oh yeah,
by far, because EMTs like they are they very much are very quick thinking. They're like, this will work. I
could never.
Right.
I didn't even want to go on a ride along. They were like, whenever I did the training, and they're like, do you want to go ride along with the fire department? And the fire department runs with EMS. I'm like, no, thank you. No. I don't want to run with them. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to see any of it. No.
No, it's fair.
It's fair. And I just didn't. They didn't make me,
No.
Yeah, I have all respect because I don't know how they do that. I've heard the stories, and I'm like, yeah, no, for real. Hey, they're heroes.
And you know what? And honestly, it could be said about recognizing your limitations or your lack of desire to want to do something. Like for you, what you did served a purpose, and you probably have saved a lot of lives just being as calm as you are.
I have. I know I have. I've probably saved quite a few people.
Yeah.
And it's in those people in those moments. Because I've talked a lot of, I've posted videos on TikTok, and I've had a lot of comments. Like, I had this 911 call, and I'll still to this day remember that dispatcher. People remember those people, those 911 dispatchers that they talk to for those 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes. They'll remember them. They may not know their name, but they know. They remember.
Because they were there. Like when you're in your worst moments, you realize who's really there for you and who's really not. Now, grant you, it might have been your job, but you didn't have to be calm. You didn't have to be as helpful. You probably went above it. You did everything in your power to do the best you could, and people know that. People feel that. You know what I mean? And
yeah, when those moments when you need to be compassionate, when you need to be hard ass with somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be all kinds of different. Because I used to have this lady that would call 911 all the time. Her and her husband they were terrible alcoholics. Okay, I don't know if they were married or boyfriend or whatever, but they were both terrible alcoholics. They would get so drunk. I think they were drunk all the time, but they get so drunk and they would just beat the hell out of each other. Okay, and they would call, and she would call us, and she would whine on the phone to us and just want to talk about it, And I got to where I talked to her so many times, and that I knew her voice, when she would call, I would know that it was her. And I got to the point where I'd been doing it for so long that I knew what I could do and what I couldn't. And I was like, look, I got to be honest with you here. You call and you call and you call, and, you complain that he does this to you. And then you complain, well, he's going to take my stuff and my car and this and that. I go, you're going to kill each other because you don't want to leave your car. or your stuff or whatever it is,
You
and
could,
and she appreciated that tough love,
yeah.
but
Y- y-
I'm sure it never got fixed. I'm
y-
sure they're still doing it, but
Oh, it is what it is.
yeah,
People become very comfortable when a situation is familiar.
codependent.
That's a very real thing. But
Mm.
listening
Yeah,
to you,
when you need to be nice and when you need to be like, look.
oh yeah, totally. You got. I gotta ask this because just based on just everything I've just heard,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta. Is any of your stuff funny? Because I think you have an interesting sense of humor.
Yeah, a couple of my romances are kind of funny. My battery's 10%. Sorry. A couple of my romances, I've written some romantic comedies. Like they kind of come out accidentally funny because that's kind of how I am. Because I see all these people. Like I said, I'm on TikTok and I watch them. Like people are like, "You're funny," I'm like, but I can't I can't do it like that. I'm just like spontaneously funny.
You're unconsciously funny.
I can't plan it.
Yeah.
I just say something stupid and it's hilarious by accident.
It's just natural, right?
Yeah.
It's just natural, right? It works because it's you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I'm just a little bit of an introvert, and I'm like, I can't imagine performing like that. Being that funny and whatever in the videos, like they are. Some of these people are really hilarious.
I would honestly love to read a I would love to even if it was a dismal failure, I would love to read a comedy by you. I think I'm not saying it's not somewhere where you're going to go anytime soon, but I do think you got it in you. I actually do think you have it in you. Yeah. So
I've got some funny stuff. Yeah, I've cracked a few jokes.
Yeah, and just even life experience. I mean, listen. You were a psychologist to a drunken family over a freaking car.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
That same conversation I had with that woman, I was giving her the business, okay? And I can't remember what I was saying to her. And she proposed to me. I swear to God.
I love you, man.
You're great. She goes, would you marry me? She did, and I was like,
oh, God.
No.
No.
I'm married. And no, thank you.
It's not even that. At that point, it's like, no, I know your story. No, just no.
Yeah, no, that's a hard pass.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no, it's funny. Sometimes you really know a person. You're like, would you marry him? It's like, no. I'd go crazy. I would go crazy. And I'm already like most of the way there. I don't need to go the rest of the way. So, and here she is. All right, I'm holding on. What am I holding on?
Sorry, I'm having issues.
It's okay. It's okay. He's having issues, ladies and gentlemen. Rachael, right?
What the hell? Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
Are you there?
I'm as there as I always am. I'm as there as I always am. Right. So we'll let God decide how sane that is. But I can hear you. I can totally hear you.
I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me?
I cannot hear you.
Okay. Sue, what did you do?
What happened?
What did she do? I can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear?
I don't know.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Rachael cannot hear us. So she's going to try. What did you do?
Let me try unplugging it. Hello?
Hello, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you sound like funny.
Okay, I don't have an answer to that because I have no idea what you did over there. Like, I have no clue. I hear you just fine.
Weird, glitchy. Hopefully it'll pass. But yeah, sorry.
What did you do? I gotta ask though, what did you do? Because you heard me just fine before. What magic button did you click?
Do what?
What magic button did you click? Because you heard me just fine for the longest time. Then you hit something, and now you couldn't hear me at all. And you're like, I heard you. I was still hearing you just fine.
Hear you?
Like, I can't hear you. It's like, oh shit.
Now I can hear you.
Yes.
I don't know what you said, so.
I said all kinds of terrible things. You're going to have to watch the stream now to find out what they are. They were horrible things, I was saying the absolute most incriminating things I could about you behind the safety of the mute button, because it's safe that way. And I wouldn't do that. I am a firm believer. If I'm going to condemn you, I will condemn you to your face. I won't actually. It's simpler that way. I honestly, I've learned this a long time ago. Honestly, the kindest thing you can do to somebody is, if you don't like them, if you don't like them, you need to cut them out. It's just be upfront and cut them out. It's just that's the best way to do it.
And I'm at the point in my life where I'm just like, really, you don't like me? That's okay.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm okay with that. And maybe
yeah.
I don't like you either. So,
No, it's like no, it's you know what? Let's just save time, right? That's kind of the whole thing. Like, let's just save time. I haven't actually been quite this upfront. It's like, I don't like you. It's okay. You don't like me either. That's life.
Not everybody likes everybody.
No, you know what? We're not meant to. We're meant to, there are some people that just will piss you off for no good reason. Then there are other people you want to be around forever. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So, yeah. So, I like to think I'm lovable, but I know there are people who don't like me, and I'm okay with it.
Talk to, and then I have those people that are just like, yeah. So.
And then I got people where it's like this: I need large quantities of alcohol to put up with you. So, that there are people like that, and that's it. Everybody's different. That's what makes life wonderful. Life isn't just about you, even though sometimes you want to believe it is. It does. It's not. No, that's why we write books, because there we can be megalomaniacs. We can actually
world, and I'm the boss.
That's right. You're the boss. We're not the bosses either. We tend not to be the bosses. We're the conduit.
You write it, and the story takes over, and you're like, "What happened?" Hey,
That's right. Bad story. Then the story just smacks you around. No, we're going here. But I don't want to go here.
And you have to back up, start all over. Yeah, because it didn't go where you.
Oh well, no. I see. I've learned. See, this is what I've learned. If I could go, I'm somewhere between a plotter and a planter. I'm just going to call myself a planter. That's what I'm going to call myself, a planter. And that's it. I'm a planter, because what happens is, I recognize the fact that it's good to have an ending to your story in your head. It's great to have that. Good to have a strong beginning, a strong ending, some idea of where the middle is going to go.
Right.
Right. But what I often find in stories is, the characters at some point go to you, "Hey, you, listen, I'm going that way." And you're like, "Why are you going that way? Trust me."
Yeah.
Well, and
dilemma myself with one of my characters I'm writing right now. I can't. I'm trying to figure out who he is, and I'm not sure.
So what you do is you go, "Okay, so listen, I'm going to take you on a ride. We're going to figure out who you are." So and he's like, and he's going to be like, "Trust me." Now, hopefully, he's not your launchpad McQuack. He's going to take you on a plane and crash it somewhere, right? Right. Right.
Yeah, you have the only way to figure it out is to start him one way and realize it's wrong. This isn't right. So you back it up and make it different. And that's who he is, and he started out, and I'm thinking, what about this? But then I got to change that. I'm in the middle of it.
So my first draft, I kind of let it be the mess it's going to be. I don't worry about it making sense, because what eventually happens is, I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. When I do revisions, I'm going to take the parts I like, the parts that are crap, and the parts that are kind of in the middle between I like and crap. And I'm going to put them in those three piles, cut one, use the other, and then with the third pile, combine it with the first one a little bit and see what's actually the best story to tell. Sometimes things I like go away, but more often than not, it's better for it. So I'm getting wiser. I can cut now. It used to be once upon a time, you can't cut everything. It's all wonderful. No. My shit stinks.
That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pantser. I don't know what I'm doing. I have an idea of the beginning. I usually have a pretty solid beginning, But the idea of the ending and the middle, I have no clue.
I love being surprised. Like that's the best thing about that is you get so surprised.
As you are, so
Well, this thing
happening,
yeah, I love that. But I think every author like when you get to the point, like especially in your case, this is book 9 or 10 you're working on right now, right?
Like
so you love surprises.
I love writing surprises in. Love it.
Yeah. And the best, and so if you can be surprised, your reader will be.
Yeah. Carnal Knowledge. That book has the best ending in it I have ever written. It is like a shock. It's twisted. It's like nobody sees it coming. I absolutely love it, and I don't think I could ever top it. But the one that's not out yet, it's actually finished, but it's kind of sitting with a publisher right now. That one's got a lot of twists and turns in it too, and more than anything I've written. But the ending in Carnal Knowledge was just so good. I'm like, I can never do this again. This is just so twisted.
So
I'm messed up, but I'm so proud of it.
I heart you. I think it's at a convention somewhere. We could grab a drink somewhere and we could just talk all this weird so this weird twisted stuff we do with our characters, and we probably just have a blast. That's all we talked about the whole time. Hey, remember when I did this to my character? Oh yeah, but I did this.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of like, what am I gonna do to my character, and how crazy is he gonna be, and
So I got my sequel to the Cloud Diver I'm working on. The villain in it is a giant cupcake, which is a homage to Pac-Man. Right? So there's literally like a milk carton like tweets of, have you seen this person? The cupcake has struck again and is devouring people. Like people are dying to sweet candy. There's literally a scene where how in Pac-Man where they go through the maze, right? So it's chasing my main character in like a maze. The only difference is the cupcake cheats and it's eating the maze too, right, to catch him. But it's a Pac-Man homage, and I'm like, what other twisted stuff can I do to him in this story? And I get him drunk. He wakes up as a woman, and I'm just having fun with the whole right. I realize, like, on some level, especially with this particular character I'm writing, I enjoy torturing him. I don't know why exactly, but I enjoy putting him in situations like this. Yeah, because it just feels like he needs it.
I've gotten into a habit, and I don't know if it's a good habit or a bad habit, but in the last couple of books I've written, of making people bad guys that you didn't know were bad guys. I've gotten into a habit of doing that, and it's like, they're shocked at the end. They're like, wait a minute, I thought he was the good guy, but well, not necessarily, I've done that now, and I like doing that.
So I grew up with car thieves and drug dealers in London, Ontario. That was literally my neighborhood's environment. So the thing about the thing that I think terrifies most people about criminal, like the more like the bad guys, most of them are your next door neighbor. Most of them are people on day in and day out basis.
I think too, I draw it from my history is that nobody's really the good or the bad guy.
No,
people, in certain circumstances that react a certain way.
Oh yeah, and looking at my own life, I try to be the hero in my own story.
Right.
But sometimes I'm the villain.
Right. And at what point are you so desperate that you become the bad guy?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I like to do. That's what I like to do. And I'm not trying to give away anything.
No, but I
really like that making the characters like layered, and they make bad decisions and they make good decisions, and you don't know whether to like them or hate them, because that's
then at that point your goal is to make people understand them. which is actually a really good space to be in with your characters,
Mhm.
because at that point they're human, or human-like at least, and those are the best, I think.
I'm just warning you, my phone's at 2%, and if I plug
So,
hear you. So if I you
no, we can. I actually was about to wrap this up anyway, because I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you. You're awesome, and yeah, I hope this was a good. I hope you had just as much fun.
Oh yeah,
I hope.
forever about it. Yeah. But
Yeah. So why don't you plug your book that's out now, or coming out shortly, and then
it came out in July. Carnal Knowledge is the second book in the Deadly Sin series. You can read them in any order. They're standalone, but the Deadly Sins books, they're standalone, but they're a series in the sense that each one of the books is about one of the 7 deadly sins.
okay.
Right. So the first one is Wrath, which is Break My Bones, which is a domestic thriller about domestic violence. And then Carnal Knowledge is like a more of a mystery, like a serial killer kind of thing.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. And how can people find you?
I have my website, RachaelTamayoWrites.com. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, but I'm not a big fan of Twitter, so you probably won't see much of me on there. It's not my favorite.
Okay.
More on Facebook and TikTok, and you can send me. I have email and everything. You can reach me through my website.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tonight's episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, do so a number of different ways. Subscribe on my Twitch or my YouTube channels. Subscribe to my audios on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, all that stuff. Buy my books. I'll see you guys tomorrow with Susie Vidori. Just stay real quick. Rachel will wrap up in a second. Until, guys, stay inspired. Keep shining in the darkness.